Welcome to Trading Lounge and the European indices for Wednesday, October the 5th. I don't have any answers, but let's shoot the breeze on where we're at with everything. So, before I start with the DAX, I want to start with one of the US banks, and BAC is a good start for that. So, what I want to talk about, because basically all the markets move in their own way. They're all the kind of same, but they're all uniquely different as well. But generally, you know, on an intraday basis, they can pretty much track each other. You get some ones that are doing news or something and go in a particular direction, but generally they all sort of follow. What I mean by that is that from the top here, the move down through here, most of the markets have followed that from the top and have all moved down in a nutshell, you know, the equity market, shares, whatever. So the thing that we're facing at the moment is with Bank of America here, it's pretty clear that that's the low, and it's pretty clear that we've got 3 waves to the upside. We don't have 5 waves to the upside, so that is a corrective pattern. And that means at some point in the future we're going to be making a new low here. So because the S&P 500 moved up for its B wave here, let's just bring the S&P up for a moment. Where are we? Over here. So yeah, just to get a bit of an average here, because today we're not going to be talking about doing trades and things. We just want to have a look at a few things. So in a bit of a nutshell, the S&P pulled back up to its 50-60% retracement level. Now some markets moved higher, like Apple, and some struggled to get there, you know, but as the S&P's of 500 companies, it's a bit of a moving average, one could say. So it nestled in there quite nicely for that and for the turn and so on. And we'll come back to that. So yeah, I mean, this move back again, this move up through here is in 3 waves. So that means we need to take out the low, and we have taken out the low, and we'll talk about that, but we haven't taken out the low on the banks yet. So I was thinking that we would be looking at this as 5 waves down for 1 and back for 2 and down for 3 and then back for 4 here. Now that's all fine at this particular point in time, and then we would be looking for wave 5 to come down here. Would have 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That makes sense. And you know, the European markets have been moving in the same direction as this, and then we would have an ABC pattern here for this, for wave 2, pulling back 50-60% of that move and then moving down again at that point. And yeah, so that's still on the cards. But what is happening in some of the Asian and European markets is that this wave 3 low that we're calling in, or from wave 3 to wave 4 here, this is the low of wave 1 here. It hasn't overlapped, wave 4 hasn't overlapped wave 1 yet, but in some markets it has. So that would break one of the 3 Elliott rules. It's one of the weaker rules, so I don't always put a lot of confidence on it. And also too, we could also look at, you know, we could still accommodate that thing, but I do need to point it out. And if it breaches it by a little bit, not a biggie. But what we also need to be prepared about is that it's also a warning sign as well. So if that's a warning sign, then we've got a few things to consider. We would need to consider a couple of things. So first of all, it's probably that we're going to overlap a little move up here for overlap wave 1 here. And we've overlapped this on the STOXX 50 and the DAX, I think. Yeah, could have done. Not on the S&P 500. There's still quite a, this is the S&P here, there's quite a gap between those two here. And where's the DAX here? So with the DAX here, just so we're shooting the breeze, so you can see that we've just done that now, you know. So we've had wave 3 here, and we're looking for wave 4, but wave 4's not looking that good. I mean, it's a strong move up, don't get me wrong, but yeah, so that's overlapping there. So this is why I'm just talking about it a little bit. So what does all that mean, and what's going to happen next, and so on? Well, the First thing that we need to realize is that with the US banks here, this move up here is in 3 waves and it hasn't taken out the low here. There's other stocks like this too, that Amazon is another one, and there's a couple of other ones that I just can't think of the top of my head, but we do each day. So we still need to make new lows. So how are we going to do that? Well, there's a few things that we need to consider. And we put these ideas on the table, and then we'll need to eliminate them one by one. So the first one is that, well, is it possible to get wave 5 in here like this, and we've got that's completed to the downside. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's completed to the downside. It doesn't look right, does it? And it's forcing it. But when we go to the intraday on the DAX and the Stock 50 or something, we're going to be looking at it like that as well as an option for that move, for that. And that would mean that this 5 waves down here would have a 50-60% retracement level here at that point. So we'd come up into this space here. So I'm just going to use this one as an example, but it will be that all the way around. So if there is a low in here, that 5, we're chasing 5 waves up here at the moment, and then we would have a correction coming back, and then we would have another 5 waves up, and then we would come down into wave 3 like that. So that's a possibility. You might say that, yeah, Pete, that's definitely not right, and you know, we could look at that a little bit differently. We could remove these here for a moment, and we could look at this as a as down for 1 here, and then back for 2 over here for this as a bit, or that, well, wave 1 and wave 2 back at this top here for this. Because there is, in most cases with the indices, we're looking at this as an A and a B and a C coming in here. So it could be that, and that top that we're chasing at the moment, or tracking rather, I don't like the word chasing because we don't do that. So we're tracking 5 waves up here. When it turns, we'll keep an eye on it and we'll look for short trade setup. So then it could come down. So it could be 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, and then come down at that point. So that's also possible. So there's 2 sort of variations of a move to the downside in that case. The other one is that all of this here is actually an ABC correction here. So an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave down here for this. And then that would make this a B wave here in 3 waves, an A, B, C here for a B wave. And then we would need to put this over here, and this wave B over here, and this wave C here. And that means that means that this move up from the low here would have to call wave 5 low in here, or as a ABC pattern at least. So this current move that we're tracking at 5 waves up there, that would have an ABC correction, and then it would have another push up here coming quite close to the top here as wave 3, and then wave 4, and then wave 5, and then make a new low at that point. So we're looking at a larger A, B, and C correction over here for that. So that's something that we need to, you know, play out as well. So we've got 2 cases where we, first of all, we track the first one to the 5 waves up here. We'll look at this on the DAX. We track the 5 waves up there, we turn and we come straight down. So we'll need a trade set up for that. The second one is that we go up here for an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave for wave 2, and then we come down at that point. The other one is that we have 5 waves to the upside. So we've got this scenario, and we've got these 2 scenarios. So we're going to have to look at how we can prepare for those and be long or be short at the right time with a nice solid trade setup at that point. So that's sort of it in a nutshell. If we look at the S&P here, that means that we could also do the same. We could put a B wave down here. We can put this C wave over here for that, the B wave over here for that, and the A wave over here for that. See, the other thing that some folks are mentioning is that that we could actually have a low in place for this market down here. So all of this is the A wave, the B wave here, and the C wave here, and that's the end of it. And we go all the way up there. So I think that's okay, but the problem with that is that for Bank of America, for example, and Amazon, we've got corrective patterns here. There's definitely a corrective pattern, and we haven't made new lows yet. So yeah, the strength of actually needing to make more lows here is a box that needs to be ticked, put it that way. So I don't think that we've got a low in place. It's possible and plausible, but I just don't think it's there just yet. But it doesn't stop us trading long or trading short. We're not going to be fixed into some particular space here for this. So in this case, we can look at this as 1, 2, 3 here and 4 here, and we have been looking at that on 50k, I think, and then 10k. So in this case, we've got the A wave here, the B wave here, and the C wave up here. And you know, we've been tracking 5 waves up here. We know that it's near the top here. We know that it's going to turn back and so on. But we need to be in this space here, in this empty space, where we don't know what's going on. We need to prepare for that. So we know that we're tracking 5 waves up here. We know that if it's going to be bullish, then we're still going to have a retracement back here, and we can go long at this point, and we can go long here at this, and we'll continue to the upside, and we'll get triggered in here. But yeah, the other question here is that, is it possible to look at this move down through here? Is it possible to put wave 4 here and put wave 5 here on the low here for that? It's rather small, wave 4 and wave 5, but I can, the European markets I can count this. This is where we start to have a look at the intraday, by the way. Doing it this way as wave 4 and 5 here is kind of interesting for all of the markets, and they're all a little bit different, because on the Nasdaq and the STOXX 50, for example, this low here breaches the low here, breaches that low. But on this one it doesn't. But on this one here too, I can count down as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 down here. So we can do it that way. I think I'll need to go to, I think, 1000 ticks here, just coming back into here. So that wave 4 up here, I was just trying to consider, so I was looking at this as 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave for wave 4, and then down for wave 5 here. So I can count 5 waves if I put wave 3 here, because we're looking at that as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave up here, but it can be counted as 5 waves down here. Now the other markets can't be counted like that. I'm just going to put my bank back over there. These markets can't be counted like that. I'm not sure what I'm on here. Maybe I'll just have a look at 100 ticks and then go to 2. I don't know what I've updated and what I haven't, so we'll just go on a bit of a journey. Okay, yeah, so this is so in this case, we can't count it. When I bring the S&P back, we can go from wave 4 here. We can go 1, 2. I mean, I'd have to put these in blue, by the way, a few degrees higher, but just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get down here, to have 3, 4, and 5 as a low here. At the moment we've got it as the A wave, the B wave, and we're tracking 5 waves up there, and we're near the top. But I won't go into that. But over here, I can't count it down, but in this case we could go wave 3 here, wave 4 here, like we had originally, and then wave 5 down, because we do make a new low here, just, or close enough, and then wave 4. It's nice and complicated, isn't it? Sideways and awkward and complicated, and then wave 5 making a new low here. So it is possible to get 5 waves out of here, but I feel like I'm sort of forcing it, and I need to say that. And but I think today was really just because of this strong move to the upside. I just really wanted to be aware of of all the possibilities. So yeah, in the meantime, as you know, we're counting 5 waves up here, so I've just lifted these up a degree of structure. So I'm thinking we've got wave 1 and 2 here, then 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave. So this fourth wave probably come over here in the off hours, and then we'll have wave 5 of 3, and then 4, and then 5 up here. But don't, like I said this morning with the S&P, don't expect too much for out of wave 5, because the extension's in wave 3 here. So basically wave 1 and wave 5 are going to be quite small. So we're going to let that sort of top and turn, and once we've got that top in, we'll start to see what we've got over here for that. So that's it in a bit of a nutshell. We're just trying to, I mean, of course we can count this as the A wave, the B wave and the C wave here, but the problem with this, of course, is, have I got this on a bigger picture here? This is, just go back a bit, to 100 ticks. What have we got on 10K here? Or 2K, 2K, 2K. Okay, so we'll just get this. I don't always update every single chart, but so yeah, in this case we've had this as wave 1 and 2 here. We've been looking at the low here of wave 3 and going back for wave 4, but as you can see though, you know, it's I've already got a line there. This line going through here is already you know, pushing that out here, you know. So because it's given overlapping wave structures there, we have to look at this. We have to look at this differently now. This 5 waves up here is not a problem. You know, that will play out here, but we won't know if we're going to be going down at that point. I mean, we will be coming down, but I think that we'll just be coming back for an ABC, and we'll probably have another move up at that point. But the S&P is not telling us that story. So we've got different markets doing different things. You know, a lot of this is basically sort of obviously money, you know, follow the money. So really it's kind of the US dollar is kind of central to all of this as well, because as these markets have been pushing up, the US dollar's been pushing down, and you know, the euro and the pound will just follow, you know, the indices to a point as well. So we'll be looking at those. As far as the stock 50 goes, it's much the same as well. This wave 1 here that we've got, we can see that we're clearly overlapping it now at that point. So do we call the low in like this here? It's really squashing it up, and I'm not that sort of happy about it. But it's probably one of the, it's an idea that we can look at. Not that it's going to bother us too much at this particular point in time. Once this finishes up here, then we'll be looking for a trade setup at that at that stage, and this will be the same. Just moving on to the UK market as well. I think I didn't finish this one off here as well. I mean, this one is not. This is, we could look at this as wave 1 coming down here, but we may or may not. Look, I was just trying to sort out this here. I was just seeing what the best fit was at this particular point, but I think we're on 5K tick or 1K tick here. I'll just check. Yeah, I mean, we're going to come pretty close to overlapping this here, so we could do the same here as well. We could actually bring wave 4 in here, but this is a little bit different, this market, because it's, well, it's completely different. If we look at the daily chart for a moment, I haven't looked at this for a little while. We don't need a lot of this stuff in here. Oops, I wanted that 7,000, so I'm just going to bring that up to the 7K mark there. So in a nutshell, we've been looking at this in terms of all of this pattern across here, you know, plays out quite nicely as a corrective pattern. If this market moves above the through that low here, if it moves up through there, then I'll look at this as the triangle pattern again at that point. And if it's a triangle pattern, well, then we'll be looking at we'll be looking at a slightly different pattern coming up to wave D here, and then 3 here to get wave E here and that kind of thing. So this can be viewed quite differently than the S&P 500, of course, and the DAX and the STOXX 50. So it's in a different it's in a bit of a pattern of its own here at the moment. But what I was always waiting for here was to see, do we get from wave B here, do we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here? Do we get 5? Are we going to get 5 waves down here? Because that was the thing. Or do we just get 3 and we're still in part of the triangle? So once that overlaps here, then I will do something about this. We'll sort a better pattern out for it. When it comes to the currencies, let's just I want to bring these back in a bit and just clear them up. That's all good. So this is the US dollar here. Now, with the US dollar, we want to have a look at the bigger picture today for the cable and the euro as well. So in this instance here, my question that I'm trying to answer myself is, do we have a wave 3 in top here, or do we have a wave 5 in top here? Is this move down here, is it corrective? So I have started to count it. So I'll just need to get more price pattern here, but basically from the top we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here. So we can look at it as wave A or wave 1, B or 2, and then coming down here there's another 5 in here. So we could look at this here as an A, B, C here for the A wave, a B wave here, and then coming down for a C wave. It's a very small B wave, so that's probably not the case. It's more like we're going to get some more of an impulse wave down, but I want to confirm it and get the evidence. So wave 1 here and 2, and then coming down for wave 3 here. So we would need to just copy that, put wave 3 where that C wave is here, and then a wave 4 here. I need to see if we're going to get 5 waves down. That's the first step here, because if we do get 5 waves coming down here, then we're going to have a 3-wave counter trend, and then we're going to have another 5 down. And that means that if we're going to have 5 waves down here, and then we're going to have 3 back up, and then another 5 here, well, the indices are going to be doing the exact opposite, within reason, of course. So that's really helpful to see if we do get 5 waves here first. So that's what I'm tracking. So it'll be a day or two a couple of sessions before we can, really confirm that. But it does appear that it does count nicely as 1 and 2, and 1 and 2 here, and then coming down for wave 3. I'll need to adjust a few things in here, but the takeaway is, let's see if we get 5 waves down here. This particular 50 and 61.8% retracement area here is only from the last wave 4 to the top here for that. So it will support the market. It's just giving me a bit of a guide stick, but it doesn't mean too much at the end of the day. So let's just go back to the bigger picture here, and I'll just go to the monthly chart first. So this is the monthly chart here, and as you may know, that's the low, and that's a corrective pattern up here, and then we've got 5 waves down here. So it's likely that we can continue to move up in this market. What I'm trying to do at the moment is I'm trying to confirm, do we have a top in here, or are we just having a little ABC in here and then having another little move up here before we have a top in play? So I'm trying to figure out the top here. That's where we're at the moment for this. In the bigger picture here, we've got this as 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd wave, and ABC for the 4th wave here, and then up for the 5th wave. If that is correct, either from this top or one more little top here, then we would just simply have an ABC pattern here that would come back to this support, obviously fantastic support at at 90 here, and then we would go up again from that point. That would also be roughly the 60% retracement level area as well at that point. So taking that up there, yeah, the 50-60% is in that area. So yeah, pretty obvious that that would be a good support. So if this was going to pull down, if this is going to come down, then we'll see the indices move up at that point. That's how this is central to everything. So that's why I'm trying to spend some time on it. Now, as a 5-wave structure here, as I've mentioned before, that this wave 4 here overlaps wave 1. So that makes it invalid wave count of a 5-wave move, especially at this degree of structure. So we could look at it in other ways. We could look at it as this as an A wave up here, a B wave here, and a C wave up here. That's another way to view it. There's a few ways to view it, and I think that we need to mention them. The other way is to look at this as wave 1 here and 2 here, and then look at this move here as 5 waves up as wave 1 here and wave 2 here. You could also put wave 2 here. This kind of counts quite nicely as 5 waves, by the way, but just for the sake of it, wave 2 here and then moving up for 1 here. This would be moving up for 1 here and coming back for a 50-60% retracement level here. So it would only come down to this support and then move up again from that point. So we need to understand that move down and how that will affect the indices in the inverse way as well. So I'll just pull this to the side for a moment, and we want to have a look. This is the euro here. So yeah, this brings us back to the low in 1984 here for this, for the euro. So there's a couple of ways we can look at this in the bigger picture, because once again, the indices will be following this market basically, you know. I mean, while this is a monthly chart, while this moved down here, of course, inflation, you know, skyrocketed quickly, didn't it, you know? And do we have inflation under control? I don't know. There's other problems as well in the Euro bloc and in the UK with all of this as well. And but that's another story. And what I can say about the pattern here is that it's pretty obvious that this move here is in 3 waves. So an A and a B and a C wave here for, well, we could have another A wave here. This box here is from that low to that high here, that's the 61.8% back at parity here. So it's sitting on parity at the moment, or roughly around there, and you know, could that be the low there? So there's a couple of things that could happen here. If the US dollar was going to go higher, right, if this was just, the US dollar comes back here and then moves up again, I mean, you know, the fact that it's trending up in today's environment, nothing's changed, has it? Nobody's paid back their debt, you know, from the Feds or any of the reserve banks as such. So there's no real change in anything, is there? So in the bigger picture, you would expect sort of more bearishness to come into the euro and the pound as such. So if I looked at this here as an A, B, C here for the B wave, well then the C wave would come down and take out the low here in 5 waves. So I can readjust this here to make things more bearish. I can just put wave 2 here, for example, and put wave 1 here and wave 2 here and lift it up a degree of structure, and then look at this here and bring this over to here and make that a wave 3 over here and then a wave 4 over here. And it's not like it's not a big deal to expand this out by any means, you know. So if this parity here becomes the retested resistance, and we kind of know what that looks like, we'll be looking for something like this, a move through it, going back up and checking and then dropping lower. Once that becomes the resistance here, then there's a pretty good chance that it will let go of that 1 of that parity and then move down further. But at the same time, because it's at the 61.8% here, it's possible to, expand it to the upside and look at wave A here, wave B over here on the 61.8%, and then put wave C over here with wave B over here, and then look for a move up here, and the equities all go higher at that point, and this dollar has a bigger correction, back down in this case. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. And it's also, as we're trying to understand, is this move up here completed in 5 waves? And we can talk about that in a moment and drill into that. The same thing goes for the euro and the pound here as well. What do we have here? Is that the end of it at that point? That's what we need to also understand as well. And if it is the end of it at that point, or is it going to cascade down further at that point? So they're the things that we need to understand for this market at least. So, and let's have a quick look at the pound as well. I'll come back to the pound. I don't need to go over that just yet in all of that. But the pound is basically the same sort of picture as this. So. We'll just go here. I can't remember what I've done, but let's just go to the weekly chart here for a moment. So in this case, I've got it a bit, I'm not worried about all of this at the moment because that can be read either way. So I'm looking at this in a couple of different ways. So this wave 4 that I was talking about, coming down to wave 5 here, I was looking at it in a couple of different ways. First of all, this is a particular way here that we can have a rally back up to this wave 4 and then come down here for this and then this and then this. And this would be in line with the larger equity in the S&P 500 count that we've got. So that's all possible at this point. And I won't bore you to death with the count, but it's just 1 and 2 here and coming down for 3, 4 and 5, coming lower here. It's not like we've seen a good wave 4 here yet, all of this here is really all part of the same family. It hasn't really jumped out of the trend. Wave 4s normally start breaking the trend channel, and we haven't broken that trend channel. So realistically, this is okay like this, I can also count it down where we have wave 5 sitting on this low here, and we're already done and dusted. So I'll just go to the daily chart for that. So don't worry about all the rest of the stuff. So in this case, we can look at it as 1 and 2 here, and then I can count it down as 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, the fourth wave, and the fifth wave for this wave 3. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and then counting this down as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, the fourth, and the fifth here of the fifth. So I can count it as having a low in here, but I have to say this wave 4 here is just really small. It feels like we haven't, like I mentioned, wave 4s need to breach the current trend that we're in, and this is the other count here in this grey area that I've got here. So I'm thinking that I'm trying to understand what this move up here is. I know that it can come back to this wave 4 of 1 lesser degree here. I know that this is just retesting the large number. It's doing everything that it's supposed to do. So this has come down, hit a level, it's had the arrival, the reaction, and then move down further. So the next thing here is to retest it, which is just normal, and it can go back above the level, it could go right on the level, it could do all sort of be short on the level, but basically in its own way retesting that. And then we just need to see if that fails, because if it fails, then this count would play out here. And this wave 3 and 4 here would be quite time consuming. It could take like 2 or 3 months for that, of that degree of structure. I don't see this intermediate wave 4. I just can't put it there. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. It hasn't got the right. It's the right count to put it here, but it's not the right look and feel about the structure. Because wave 4s need to be breaking out of the trend channel sideways, and they're not doing that. So this little move up here, we're just sort of focused on that, and in one way this is the pound here as well. So this move up here is one that we're focusing on, and the pound's got it nice and clear here because we already had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we know we've got I've got this as wave 3 here and wave 4 up there, but I can't prove that yet because we could also have wave 1 here, wave 2 here, wave 3, 4 and 5, and move up higher. So we may move up higher, I don't know. So what I have to do is I have to look at this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here, and then we've been labeling this as we go 1, 2, and there's 1, 2 in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for third, 4. So we still need, there's still more to go here. So once we get to the top here, I'll just see if I'll still need to get wave 4 and wave 5 if it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then we'll be more bullish at that point. We know because we get 5 waves here, we'll have a correction and then another 5 up. But we don't know that yet. We could just have the A, the B and the C wave here in line with the US markets, and then come down from that point. So that's what we're looking for, and the same on the euro here with this move to the upside here. So I need to give them both a chance, and then coming back to the US dollar, I also need to give this a chance at the top here. So I'm just monitoring this situation of this move coming down here at the moment to work out, do we have, in all of these currencies, do we have a an impulse wave coming down, 5 waves in this first leg here, or are we looking at a corrective wave? And even once we get 5 waves here, that will give us a correction and then another 5 down here. So it'll still be at this point here, this be as an A and a B and a C, so it could still go up from this point as well. I'm trying to work out, will it go up from that point or will it go up from that point? Once it gets past here as an ABC pattern, gets past here, then we know that it's bearish at that point. We'll be able to see that further on, but these are just correcting with the yields as well. So when we look at the US yields for this, there's no problems with the wave count for the US yields here. Let me just clean a few things up here. So in the bigger picture for the yields here, this is why the dollar can go much higher, because from the low here we got wave 1 and 2, and then we got 1 and 2 here, then we got a very clear 1, 2, 3 here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave and the fifth wave. So I haven't actually pulled that apart, but somewhere in here we're going to have wave, could be there already at the 4%. These are the 2 10-year yields, and then wave 4 here. So this, I think that the US dollar is just pulling back with the yields, and in this case I'm very confident that that we've got further to go up here. So this may be done and dusted at that wave 3 there. I'll need to check, my next job is to check that structure up here to see if it's finished, but we will have a wave 4 and then we will have a wave 5. And because we've got 5 waves up off the low here, that means we're going to have a corrective pattern here. Yep, and then another 5 waves up. So we're going to have 5 waves to 5%, and AB they'll say that they'll ease the situation at that point, and don't do anything. But then they'll notice that they're not getting inflation under control at this point, and then they'll be back onto it again, and then this will push up because this is 5 waves here. That's going to have a correction, another 5 up, and it looks big and ugly here, but when you have a look at it on the the weekly or the monthly chart here, this is that's I might just go to the monthly chart, a bit easier to see. I mean, just to get the size of it, So that's the 80s over here, where it's up quite high. And all we're talking about is from this low here, having 5 waves up to this point, 5% coming up to here. And we will get 5 waves there because it's just so clear, and then we'll have a correction and then another 5. So why wouldn't the US dollar follow that? I mean, the money's being attracted to the US dollar because the Feds have put up their rates the fastest out of all the other economies, you know, and they've attracted that money into their space. You know, that's as simple as I think it is, really. I don't think there's anything more complicated to it than that. So yeah, you know, this moving up here would put the other guys at, and you know, unless they do a fast catch up, but yeah, that's where it is at the moment, guys. So I'll leave it all at that. But just to let you know, I mean, I haven't got any answers today for anything, but while this is pulling back, we need to, you know, the rallies that we're looking at in the equity market and this move down in the US dollar, we need to understand a little bit more about them before we can, you know, do anything. So it's going to be another session. So with the S&P here, this move up through here that we're counting still needs to make a top up here, and then it needs to turn. So we still need, you know, a good session or two before we can do anything about it. But we should see the S&P and the DAX slow down in the next session. When as it moves as the euro moves up here, that's going to slow down. The pound, that's going to slow down and turn here. So we'll just watch it turn, and we'll keep a bit of an eye on it. We'll look for some trade setups and all of that. That's just the Australian dollar doing much the same. Yeah, so that's it. So we're going to watch the US banks. We're just going to watch everything, and we'll see how it plays out. So I'll leave it all at that. Alrighty, cheers.